How we doing today, man? On the Express accounts, no trades. There, logged both of them out. Didn't really like anything today for the Express account, and that should have told me that I probably shouldn't have taken anything on the Combine, but I didn't. And we actually really shouldn't have lost. We hit our daily loss today, just executing poorly. Took this 3-minute inversion. And my mouse is almost dead, or it was dead, and I hope it works for this video, but do not want to be using my mouse pad or trackpad, whatever. We ended up taking this 3-minute inverse, not on the 3-minute, but when this 1-minute inverse right here, or got close to inversing. We had a 2-minute inversion right here. We had just been selling off all day. We had an unfilled gap right here, and a 30-minute gap that I wanted to see us reach into. That idea ended up playing out, actually, but we kind of just messed up the execution. How do we mess up the execution? Well, we got in. When we failed to take this high out and start coming down, I got stopped at break even. And if I were to just held my stop, I would have actually ended up getting a partial and then getting stopped at break even. But then as soon as we got stopped at break even, we ended up trying to get back into the trade in various spots that just didn't end up working out. One of the spots being, let's just pull up the execution real quick, and then we'll talk about the rest of the day. But yeah, not the most fun day of all time, but I'm happy with locking out my Express account, not taking any trades on there, recognizing the conditions. And not saying that there wasn't any trades to have taken. The shorts looked really, really clear off open, but they just didn't deliver the way I wanted personally, so I just didn't get involved. But we get in here, and it was running up good. And I think I just went break even due to the fact that we closed above this down close. I just really want to see a quick follow through these highs. We just didn't get it. And I didn't really want to just continue risking $200 on this position when we got that close. Considering we are so bearish, we could have just failed and just continued lower. So I went break even, probably shouldn't have. And then my biggest rule of all time is just don't try and get a continuation after getting stopped at break even on the trade without some really valid reason. And we didn't really get a really valid reason. I got back in the position off of this 30-second right here, or when we closed above this 30-second right here, I got back in. Not a good entry, but if I had my stop underneath the point that invalidated us, I would actually been fine still. Even though it still wasn't a great entry, but I didn't really know where I wanted to put my stop loss, and then I ended up taking a pretty hefty loss here, down 180. I should have just stopped there. I should have definitely just stopped there, waited for something later in the day, picked my spot, but we went for it. Let's see where we went for it here. On this momentum, and honestly, this isn't even horrible. Like, it didn't work. But it's really not horrible. I probably could have just gone break even on this position. I think I do. I should have gone break even there when we started running these highs, because we shouldn't slow down here after we do all this. We come down and get momentum. We should not stop. So I believe I got to break even. So I'm not really sure. So I get stopped at break even there, and I just re-enter, which is dumb. But I re-entered because I didn't want to miss out. And yeah, you can't trade like that. So yeah, this was just really rough attempts today. Definitely not the best trading we could do. And yeah, we lost the 400 there, which it's a Combine. I'd rather be on the Combine than on the Express account. But if we want to real quick go over today's price action, today wasn't really too bad. I didn't like shorts, although the short models looked really good. Why do I say that? Well, this 1 hour gap, we also had this 30-minute gap. Also, the higher time frame is just melting. We're just melting on the higher time frame, so that's in your favor as well. Follow the trends. And we had all of these lows right here to be ran. I'll just mark out the bottom one. But we had these lows as well, and we had these lows. We had 3 clear lows to run at once. So what was I looking for? Pre-market, we took this one out, so I'll get rid of this. But we had this 30-minute gap, and we had these two lows to target. So right off open, I really wish I would have grabbed this trade. It looked really good. A 5-minute inversion right here after sweeping out this high inside a 30-minute and 1 hour gap would have worked off open perfectly to this low. And then we create an SMT right here. So ES does not sweep this high, the 910 high right here. We make a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. On the 5-minute chart here, you can see the 910 high. We do sweep that, and that's another bearish signature. The reason I didn't like shorts is just because we already took out this low right here, and then when we came up, made the SMT, we inversed this gap right here. We didn't inverse it very clean. We inversed it all the way down here, so you can't really enter off that for me. But then we left this equal low, and then we came all the way back up, and it was just the range that we were trading in. We had 83 points off right off open. We had 180 points up. We had another 160 points down. Then we went back up 150 points. So that just, for me, is typically when price action is not going to be favorable for my exact trading. And these candles are just really big. These candles are just really big, which I guess doesn't matter. But in terms of, for me, it's hard to risk the right amount on my XFA because a 50-point candle is just a big range, right? That's $100 on one micro, so it's very hard to risk 150 in a day. Whenever the candle's like this, we even get like a literally 90-point candle. So it's just difficult to trade this. So that's why I ended up locking my XFA. It's because I recognized that I didn't really see what I wanted to see or what I needed to see to really be confident in trading. And that's fine, right? That's the biggest thing is recognizing that it's really frustrating live time to have a day where you know that market wants to go lower. I knew market wanted to go lower from here, but I just didn't like anything. I don't like this inverse fair value gap here just purely due to the fact that we've just been doing this, right? And I've seen a lot of times where this isn't valid because there's no liquidity sweep here. Yes, we're in a 30-minute and 1 hour fair value gap. Yes, we have an SMT, but there's no real reason for us to know which side is the right bias because we already swept this low. We already just placed higher. We swept this high, and we failed to sweep this high, and we failed to sweep this low, or this high and this low get failed to take it out. So I'm not in love with this. If we would have came up, taken out this high, and then got that, I would be a lot more likely to take it. And also, too, the candles were just pretty big, 50 points. I would have to take one micro, and I would be targeting these lows probably, or maybe this low. Who knows? But I just didn't like it. I didn't love it, and because I didn't see what I wanted to see, I didn't act on it, which I'm happy about that on the Express account. Definitely annoying to give back a lot of the profit on this account, but that's the main reason why it's nice to have a Combine is because you can kind of just use it as a punching bag, or at least I can. I wouldn't recommend that. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but again, much rather this on the Combine than on the XFA because I did well recognizing I didn't like what I saw and got out of the way on the Combine and just, we really shouldn't have lost. Again, I'm not saying that I shouldn't lose, but really could have done better there. And it did actually run our target, which is cool, which is fine. But yeah, today was one of those days that it's just really frustrating to be involved with live because there's a lot of FOMO going on a day like this. There's a lot of FOMO because, there's moves happening, but you don't really like what you see, and you just have to accept that fact, and you have to say, there's nothing I like to see, right? And, yeah, definitely disappointing. I would say my goal is this whole month to follow my rules every single day. I would say that today is a day that I didn't really follow my rules. I went to break even early on this trade, and then I got back in the trade. So today's a day where I'd say at 50% broke my rules because I did well locking my account in the XFAs, and I followed my rule in terms of not losing more than 400. We took 3 trades, so that's one too many. We went break even early, so stuff to clean up, right? the yesterday's video about not breaking my rules ever again, obviously I'm a human being, right? If you start setting those expectations for yourself to never fail or never fall short in anything, I'm not talking about just trade, I'm talking about in life. If you set goals where you say, I'll never fail again, how many times have you guys had a bad habit that, either biting your nails or maybe using substances or anything like that, right? Anything you can think of. How many times do you guys have where it's like, I'm never going to do this again? And then the next day or the next week or the next month, you do it again, right? And if you try and put too much pressure on not doing it, instead of just learning from mistakes, improving, trying to be more aware, then you're doing the wrong thing, right? And what do I mean by that is, it's not that I shouldn't break my rules ever again, but I don't want to stress the fact of I need to just follow my rules, because a good trader doesn't do things just to follow his rules. A good trader does things because he knows, he identifies, right, as a good trader, right? If you're trying to stop smoking, right, you need to identify. You don't need to say, I'm trying to quit, or I'm trying to stop, or I need to just not do it, right? All you're going to be thinking about is if you fail, you're going to get down on yourself, stuff like that. And you just have to become someone that doesn't. And it might not happen the first time, the second time, the third time, but if you continuously keep trying and you keep learning, okay, I have this trigger. When I get anxious, I want to do this. Or, right, you figure out the triggers and the response, because at the end of the day, trading is just, I talked about it yesterday, it's just dopamine. It's just a chemical reaction. It's just a feedback loop, right? So figure out your triggers. You're not going to be able to solve everything overnight. But where did we take a step today? We took a step not taking a trade on the XFA. I would have loved to have been able to make money in the XFA today, but I decided not to take a trade on it. I decided to log the account and not touch it. Right? That's a step in the right direction. I'm going to be happy with that decision. Am I going to be happy with my decision on the combine? Of course not. But am I going to let that derail me and derail my process and thought process? Because as soon as that happened, right, I want to get negative. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to make this video. I just talked about not breaking my rules yesterday. So what does that look like? Oh, well, it looks like I'm a liar or I don't have any discipline. But the reality is I'm just trying to keep getting better, keep getting more understanding of who I am when I trade, right? What was the lesson today? I've learned this lesson before, but it needs to be reinforced. What was something that I did today that I've learned from previous trading sessions and previous experience? I learned that when the 5-minute chart looks like this, and it's wicking like crazy, and when we dump through and take off all the objectives right here, right, and we hit the objectives for the day, it's not loading, right, when we sweep all these objectives for the day, I've learned through experience that it's a lower probability day. It's less likely to be a good day for me. So what did I do with that knowledge? I locked my XFAs and I didn't touch them, and I got basically rewarded for it by not losing. So that's progress, right? Whether it looks like it or not, whether you think it or not, that's progress. What else have I learned before? Well, I've learned that, even though it worked today, that this is not a high quality inversion that for me, for what I look at, for what I understand. So I didn't take it. I wasn't impulsive early. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things I did well. And what was a lesson that we've learned before that we learned again today through failure, right? Because a lot of times you only learn lessons through failure. You only learn how a fair value gap works if you get told about it and you see it happen over and over and over. Psychology is no different than concepts in trading. It's absolutely no different. Some people pick up on concepts quicker, right? Some people pick up on fair value gaps quicker. Some people pick up on SMTs quicker. Some people pick up on order blocks quicker. My point being with all that is that psychology is the same. You learn psychology the same way you learn confluences, except for it's a little bit more brutal. It's a little bit more frustrating, and it's a lot more mentally draining. How do you learn not to overtrade? Same way you learn how a fair value gap interacts. Because you hear don't overtrade, but you can't know when and when not to, even though revenge, overtrading, all these things are concepts that we know fundamentally as human beings, right? So we know not to do anything out of revenge. We know that that's not a good trait. So when we learn that in trading, it's not that we don't know what revenge means, but we don't know how to control that emotion in our body yet that wants revenge, wants self-sabotage, wants impulsiveness. We know what it's like to be impulsive. We know that being impulsive is a bad thing outside of trading. But inside of the trading, we don't know how to handle those emotions. It's just becoming more emotionally intelligent. Again, when you first learn about fair value gap and someone teaches you, they're going to teach you something like this. They're going to say a fair value gap is a 3-candle pattern, right? How many of you heard that BS, right? Or it's not BS because it's true, but how many of you guys have heard this, right? And they say this, right? They do all this and right, and they're doing all this. They're drawing out their stuff, cool. And they say a fair value gap is a 3-candle pattern. It's when, I don't need to explain a fair value gap, but for the context of this video, let's just say, all right, how many of you guys have seen this exact demonstration, right? And they say the space in between these candles, and all these are dark color. Boom. Doesn't really matter. Boom. Okay, bear with me, man. It's taking a while. All right, and then they say this is a fair value gap, right? The 3-candle pattern. You see a candle here with the wick. You see a third candle that keeps going, and another one, and the space between, and the untouched space, the unoverlapped space here is a fair value gap. Cool. What am I supposed to do with that, right? You don't really know. Okay, and then they say, and this is how a fair value gap should interact. Then you can anticipate a candle to come into the candle or the fair value gap, and then you can expect a rejection lower. And this is where you can enter your trade, right? This is how we all learn this trash, right? We all learn this, and you can put your stop above the candle that created the fair value gap and target a swing low, target a 1-to-1 or something. Or you can put your stop at the other candle's high or something like that, or a close back above or something like that. That's how we learn this trash, right? That's how we learn this stuff. But just because you heard someone explain a fair value gap one time does not mean you have the tools to understand how that candle is supposed to work, or when it's going to fail, or when it's going to do this and just run through it, and when it's going to run through it and then run back down and then back up and then back down, right? You don't have any of that context yet. You don't have any of that context. So you sit and you come into the chart and you do this. Oh, okay, this looks like, this is a fair value gap, because it's not hard to spot one. It's not hard to know when you're over trading. It's not hard to whatever. But if you don't have the reps and the experience of saying, this is when I'm going to revenge trade, this is what triggers me, then you're just not going to succeed at it. It's just like learning confluences. Don't overthink it. Don't get hard on yourself. Pause. Don't be hard on yourself, right? If you are just learning the trade and a fair value gap doesn't work, you're not going to blame yourself, right? You're not going to blame yourself. You're not going to get mad at yourself because you thought that this candle was supposed to keep going lower, because you've learned that bearish fair value gaps, you can put your stop at this high and you're supposed to see this swing low, because we've had, this looks like displacement. We have we broke structure to the downside. And then you had your stop loss here and you got stopped out. And you're wondering why. You don't start blaming the concepts. You don't start getting mad at yourself. You just know that you need more experience. You need more time seeing it, because then you can start to figure out, okay, which fair value gaps matter more? Oh, well, maybe this fair value gap here that was unfilled in discount, right? In 50% of this move down, we traded back up to the 50%. We're bearish on the higher time frame. We're delivering from a 30-minute. This one has more context. Oh, wow. Right? Look at the reaction out of it. And you start gaining experience. But the thing is, with confluences and concepts, the reason why it's so much easier to know that stuff quicker than you will be able to do your master psychology is because there's millions of candles a day. You only take a few trades a day. You might even take only a few trades a week. So remember that when you're trying to manage and learn your emotions and become more emotionally intelligent with yourself when you're trading, you don't get the privilege of seeing every single fair value gap in the market. Let's just mark out all these fair value gaps, right? And not that every single one matters, but you get to see which ones do and don't, right? You get to learn firsthand which ones do and don't matter. You can see which inversions work. You can see that this one works. You can see, right? You can see different things, and you start picking up different clues and context. Okay, oh, cool, this one inversed here. We made a bearish one. We came up. That's a balanced price range, and we delivered lower. We had equal lows. That's how you learn. But look how many more fair value gaps you have. Look how many more lows you have. Look how many more liquidity sweeps you have. Look how many more, right, whatever. You get the point. You're going to get a lot more experience learning the concepts than you are learning your emotions. You're going to have a lot more opportunity than you will on this trade right here. Because if your rules are 1-2 trades a day, even if you find your 2 trades, you're only getting to practice your psychology twice in a day. So that's why don't be hard on yourself. I'm not going to be hard on myself today for losing in the combine because I'm proud of how I handled the XFA. I'm proud of how I recognize the conditions on the XFA. I'm proud that I locked my account at the $400 loss, so I couldn't just sit here and gamble because old me, especially on a combine, lose 400. What do? We go here, we go NQ, we go, and just for the hypothetical, and we go like this. And we do this. Oh, we're going up. Down 400. Let's just make $400. And then you do this. And guess what? You have $2,000 to lose, or 1,400, right? You can lose 1,600 because you're down 400. And then guess what? This was old me. This was old me, not that long ago. Oh, okay, boom. We're back on the day. We're back even on the day. And it's that simple to do. But I have the discipline to know that that doesn't get me anywhere. So I lock my account before the day starts so that I can't just do that, right? So I don't do that. And that's all trading is. That's all psychology is. Don't get down on yourself. That's a lesson today. I was negative. Every day when I trade, I always text my mom how the day went, right? Good, bad, ugly, whatever. I always tell her. And I texted her, and I was really negative. I was really disappointed. I was really disgusted with myself. But that can't happen. I can't allow that to happen because what's that doing? It's training yourself to be emotional. If you get upset after you lose, if you get really, really, really upset when you lose, you're training yourself that losing's bad. No, losing's not bad. When you're scared to lose, you go break even early. That's a problem that I struggle with because I'm scared to lose. When you're not confident in yourself, you go break even early, or you take profit early, or you close trades early, or you re-enter trades when you shouldn't have, or you do all these different things. That is you with a scared mindset. So don't be upset when you lose or something bad happens in the market because that's only going to install fear. The next time I see a setup, I'm going to be hesitant because, oh, well, I lost and losing's bad. No. Right? Losing's not bad. Could have taken this 2-minute inversion right here. Could have got in there. Would have traded back down this fair value gap and would have ran eventually up to this high. Right? Cool. Great trade. Didn't take it. Hesitated. Waited. Right? Today was tricky. That's really what I mainly want to talk about today is the fact that I'm not going to be perfect. But I'm going to follow all my rules on the XFA because I have to. I only get one trade a day. right? So at worst case scenario, I can only not follow my rules 50%. Why? Because I will never lose more than I'm supposed to lose in a day because I lock my account before the day starts. So I will never lose more than 400 in the combine. I mean, with slippage maybe, but I'll never lose more than 150 on the express. On the express account, I'll never be able to take more than one trade. So that one trade will probably be a good trade because I know it's only one time. So what is that allowing me to do? It's allowing me to now recognize that all I am doing, all this month is about, this month is purely about, because I have damage control on. I have my daily loss limit locked every day. I have my trade limit locked on here every day with my loss limit. I am at a point where I am locked in with this, where all that I'm working on this month, this entire month, is just focused on executions. Why is that the case? Well, because I have loss limits in place, so I can't start gambling, I can't overtrade, I can't do all these things. I have loss limits in place. So the only way I'm going to succeed is if I take higher quality trades and I hold the trades correctly. And that's all that my focus is on this month. Obviously, I want to follow my rules, but following your rules is just getting better at executing, being more confident. If I'm failing on my rules, it's because I'm not confident enough yet. Always fall in love with the word yet, because yet, right? It's not, oh, I can't follow my rules. I don't follow. No, it's I'm not confident enough yet. I have some confidence, but I'm not confident enough yet all the time. And that's my favorite word in trading is yet. And confidence, because that's all this is. It's repetition, it's learning, it's experience. Your psychology is the number one concept, because people have different concepts they trade. Some people do. Some people average in to trades when they're losing, right? They might swing trade, so they might get into a trade here, right? They're going in long. They went long right here, and it starts going up, and then it comes down. They go long again. It might come down again. They go long again, right? That's their psychological concept. That's how they do it. For me, what are my psychology confluences? My psychology confluences are wait for a high quality setup, right? Cool. That's a psychology thing. That's one of my confluences in psychology. Then it is hold my trade properly. That's psychology. That's confidence. 2, don't revenge trade. Those are my confluences in my psychology, and I just need to keep learning them. The same way that you learn about your fair value gaps, your VWAP, your footprint chart, whatever you trade, your confluences are specific to you. My rules, my confluences with my mental side are specific to me, and I just need more time with it. It might take me longer than it takes you, and that's okay. I don't have to beat you. I don't have to be there before you. I don't have to be better than anybody else. I don't need to be better than anyone else. Something that's become very dangerous with the trading space for a lot of people, and people that try and make money off Discord, which I don't knock at all, because if you have a skill and you're good at teaching and you're profitable, by all means, live trade for people, do a Discord. But I see a lot of people, and the biggest thing, because it's sales, it's sales, right? Why does every single trader that runs a Discord, why do they all go, this is my model, right? It ain't your model, bro. Come on, dude. You learn these confluences from someone. Like, yeah, you might see the market in a unique way, but it's not your model. Like, stop trying to fool people. It's not your model, right? It might be the model you trade, but you did not invent 10 a.m. power of 3, right? You did not invent 4-hour candle power of 3. You did not invent CISD. You did not invent inverse fair value gaps. You might have started trading them a specific way, but you didn't invent this stuff. Why do they do this? It's because they need to be better than someone else to sell their Discord. Because it makes sense from a marketing standpoint. Well, if this guy didn't invent this, I'm just going to go to the guy that did. Cool. That's why ICT rebranded all these concepts, right? It's why all of this, it's why all of this works for people, and why someone's bigger in the space than someone else. is because they find something that makes them better than everybody else. But nobody talks about the fact that you don't have to be better than everybody else. You don't need to be the best trader or the only one that can do this or whatever, because there's a lot of people that might not be the best that make a lot of money. And that's why the space is so dangerous, because everyone tries to have their selling point on social media, right? Everyone does. Everyone tries to have a selling point, right? My selling point on my channel is just being transparent, right? That's my selling. That's why people watch my content. That's why people watch my content, right? It's not because I'm, the best trader ever, but it's because I can show you guys my account, the ups, the downs, the majority downs sometimes. I can show you guys that my balance is here because I don't go on streamer mode and turn this off, and I don't, only show you green days. And that's my channel selling point. That's why I have 3,000 subscribers. It's not because I'm teaching you guys how to trade, right? Eventually, someday, I would hope that I have the skill set. That's what the transition would be, is that eventually I'm doing well and I can be more technical and be more psychology and really help people. But right now, y'all like me, or I assume, because I'm transparent. That's my channel selling point. That's what I'm not known in the space. Nobody knows who I am. I'm irrelevant in the trading space. But in terms of the people that watch my videos consistently, you guys watch me because of that. That's my selling point. Again, every single trading influencer has a selling point. Justin Werlin, his selling points is psychology and also his market maker model, right? Those are his selling points. He teaches market maker model more concise and better than most people, and he goes in depth into psychology, philosophy, all this stuff. That's what he likes to do. That's his selling point. Cool. Dodgy, inverse fair value gaps. He's your mentor of the inverse fair value gap, and he's the one that made the model, and he's the best inversion trader. That's his selling point. But to be honest, man, there's a lot of people that make way more money than him trading. There's a lot of people a lot better at trading than he is. But he has a selling point. Cool, right? Everybody has their selling point. So don't get caught up in being better than anybody else. Don't get caught up in rushing, this person did it in 6 weeks, I'm going to do it in 5 weeks, or this person did it in 6 months, I'm going to do it in 3 months. This person took him 3 years. I don't want to take 3 years, so I'm going to do it in 1 year. It might take you 4 years. Who cares, right? Who cares? Who cares, right? Do I have it down here? I hope I do. Right here. Right here. This is a great book right here. Think and Grow Rich. What is great about this book? It's because it teaches you how to think and teaches you how to think about yourself and manifest and stuff like this. And that whatever you put into the world is good and is put out good things, think good things, think that you're already there, stuff like that, right? I need to reread this book. I read it a long time ago. But there's stuff in here that specifically I remember standing out, and it was talking about set a goal, set a time, set a date, and be very intentional about the exact amount you want to make. And I don't know. I don't know if it's wrong or right, but I think that's a very dangerous idea. Why do I think that's a very dangerous idea? Well, because in trading, I think the worst thing you can ever do is say, I'm going to be profitable in X amount of time, and I'm going to make X amount of money. Because that will never do anything for you. I promise you, that will never do anything for you. Do not set, it's not bad to set goals. I set goals, I have goals, my trading goals, I had them somewhere. We went over them, I didn't meet any of them last year. But set them and don't worry about it being the thing, right? My goal this year is to make 25 grand trading. Or I think maybe more, I forget. Or let's see, I know the exact math right now. I want 5 accounts times by 30 winning days of $200 times that by 5 accounts. So that's around 30 grand. I want to make 30 grand this year trading, right? I could smash that goal. I could fall short. So I set goals, but I'm not going to say that I'm not going to put it into my mind that I have to. I need to. There's no other way, because there is. It's not about that. Trading's not about how much money you'll make by this date or doing it whenever. And that's the biggest thing I'm trying to stress, is that it is a journey. It is a process. You're not trying to beat anyone. You're not trying to be better than anyone. And if you're trying to be better than someone else, then you're probably just doing it the wrong way. You're probably doing it the wrong way. If you're trying to be better than your friend, your whatever, if you do this stuff to try and be better, the worst mindset I've ever seen come out of this online making money or trying to get rich people is doing it to be better than people. That doesn't align with a single value I want to have. It does not. And everyone talks about, I want to prove these people wrong. I want to do. Learn to get away from that mindset, because it is inadvertently one of the worst mind frames you can be in. And that doesn't align, and maybe it does align with you, but it doesn't align with me in any way. I don't need to be better than anyone. I don't need to be better than you. I don't need to be better than my mentors. I don't need to be the best trader ever. Would that be cool? Of course it would. But I don't need to be better than you. I just need to be better than I was yesterday. I need to be better than I was last week, last year. And I am. I am better than I was last year. But I can still improve, right? Be competitive with yourself. Don't be competitive with the world. You don't need to be the richest. You don't need to have the best growing company, the fastest growing whatever. You don't need to be the biggest YouTuber or any of that stuff. Do it because you enjoy something. Do it because it makes you happy. And I think people get super, super caught up in stuff that doesn't actually matter in their trading journey and in life. So I don't know. I got on a really long rant today because I think it's important, right? It's very important to understand that psychology is a muscle that you train. Psychology is a confluence and a concept that you have to learn. It comes only through experience. And you don't have to be better than anyone. You don't have to be quicker than anyone else. Don't focus on that, right? That all being said, man, Real Madrid play today at 3 against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. It's a massive, massive game. If they don't get through this round, it's the biggest game of the year. So cannot wait for that game. I mean, it's going to be amazing. But just wanted to throw that out. I always like to shout that out. Am I disappointed? Of course I am, man. But we didn't do any damage to the XFA. Combine's not blown. Life's good, man. Life's good. I will see you guys tomorrow. I apologize for the long video again, but really, really just want to talk about that stuff and just ramble. So I will see you guys in the next one, and I appreciate all the support. I'll see you guys. Peace.